Chanukah to everyone. Chanukah Tafshin Pei Gimel. It's Hashem. Chanukah Tafshin Pei Dalet should mean the Beis Hamikdash. B'mhera b'yameinu. Amen. Ina Madina Eloheinu. Alenu Mazim. Alenu Mazim. Yoshua Shlomo ben Tzipora Yanta. We're going to speak about the side of the Ner Chanukah. What do we do when we light the Ner of Chanukah? It seems to be the forgotten days in the whole Chanukah that we're going to see. We're going to try to understand. I'm going to go briefly on this. The side of the Chet. What was the sin? Why did they deserve such a punishment? Anyone who reads Yosifun, the Kadmonius, or any sefer of history of that time, the cruelty of the Greeks was basically passing the Nazis. The cruelty was unbelievable. Why would they deserve such a treatment? We're going to try to understand why also HaKadosh Baruch Hu used as a punishment rod the Yevanim. What's in this nation? What's in them that could punish the Bnei Israel? Why would the... And then Bes Hashem will go into the Oyer Aganus to understand, what's the Oyer Aganus that come in the nearest of the Menorah, and what can we do with them to better our lives, to better ourselves, and to basically eradicate all the problems and all the tsaris that we have. Because the Ner of the Menorah, the Ner of Chanukah, can change a person inside out, everything and all at once. First of all, we're going to try to go into the Alanisim we're saying on Chanukah. No, that's not the right one. Sorry. Share screen. Here it is. That's not the right one, sorry. Yeah, that's the correct one. Why is it sharing like this today? Okay. Bime Matasyahu ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol, in the time of Matasyahu Kohen Gadol Chashmoinai, he was a Chashmoinai, a Kohen, the Kohen Gadol, Ubana ben his son, Sheamda Malchus Yavan Rasha, when the Yevanim, the Greeks, came upon the Bnei Israel, lehashkicha mitayrasecha, to make them forget the Torah, your Torah, ulavira michukei reisenecha, and to make them transgress the isurim of the Torah. Ve'ata berachamecha rabim amata lahem bestarastam. You were there at the time of need, at the time of tzara. Rafta es rivam, you fought their fights. Danto es dinam, you judged the judgments. Nakamtes nikmasam, you avenged the vengeance. Masata giberim biyad chalashim, you gave strong in the hands of weaks, and the numerous in the hands of the few, and the impures in the hand of the pures, and the Rishaim in the hand of the tzaddikim. Abba. Where is Chanukah? Where is the Menorah? According to what we do, we see that the expression of Chanukah is kindling the Menorah. There's a nes, there's an Inyan, there's a mitzvah of Pirsum and Nisa, and advertise the nes. That's why we put it on the windows or by the door, whatever, we'll see. But in the whole Alanisim, we're not going to mention one time the Menorah. What happened to the Menorah? Oh, at the end, it says they made a few menorahs, they put bechatzos koyetchecha, but these were made out of wood to show everybody that there was a nest in the menorah inside. But we're not talking about the Pach Shemen. Nowhere is it mentioned. Is the Pach Shemen not the central nes, or the whole reason of the nisim of the menorah? Let's see a little bit in history what happened behind the scene in all this. The Gemara says in Shabbos, "My Chanukah, what is Chanukah?" The Gemara has the same question than us. There were so many nisim. Now you call it Chanukah. Why do you call it Chanukah? On which nes? Chazal say the days of Chanukah start on the Chav Hei of Kislev, and they go for 8 days. That you're not allowed to do a hesped, and you're not allowed to fast. Why? Because when the Yevanim entered the Beis Hamikdash and they defiled it, because they put a statue in there, and they put, we'll see that they shechted impure animals and so forth. So everything was tamei. So they were looking for a Pach Shemen to light the menorah after they purified it, but they couldn't find it. And then they found one. That's the answer of the Gemara. Okay? That's what we do, basically, according to the Gemara. But where is it according to the Alanisim? The Anshes Knesset Agdoila instituted that we have to say Alanisim on Chanukah, but nowhere it's mentioned that nes. And the Gemara says clearly, this is the nes. The Rambam in Chanukah brings a little bit of the story also. He says when the Yevanim made the Gzeres against Am Yisrael in order to prohibit them to do the mitzvahs. And we're going to go in more details. I just want to right now to go in the chet. My main focus is the Oregoners. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to our help. They were able to push away the enemy, come back to the Beis Hamikdash, purify it, and after that, they were looking to try to kindle the menorah, and they couldn't find kosher oil. All oils were defiled. And then they found one that was supposed to light for 1 day, and it remained for 8 days. Here it is. Understandable. We say something in the tefillah, but in halacha, the psak is, it's because of the ner of Chanukah. So why don't we say it, ala nisim, ala nes Chanukah, ala pach shemen, ala vaniflois, ala nechomosh, ala sisalav, yiseinu bayami mahem bezman hazeh. For sure, they were under tremendous lachas, they were suffering, the cruelty, as I mentioned before, was tremendous. Some people, there were 1,000 people that wanted to keep Shabbos. They went outside the city of Yerushalayim. They hid into a cave. They heard about it. The Yevanim, they blocked the entrance of the cave and they put a fire inside. They burnt everybody alive. They heard about 2 women that did a bris to their children. They took the woman, they hanged them by their chest, and the babies next to them hanged them so they don't die right away. And they keep on looking at the babies hanging dead next to them. Our forefathers have fought, have given their life, al Kiddush Hashem, to not to transgress and to show. Laughing at death when it comes to be Mekayim the Torah. The Schusim Am Yisrael has, no one can even fathom the beginning of them. Generation upon generation, Kedoshei Elyon gave their lives to be Mekayim the Torah. They laughed at death, they laughed at the enemies, they laughed at the cruelty. They would not be stopped to be Mekayim the mitzvahs of the Torah. Why did this happen? How is it possible that while the Beis Hamikdash stands, if it was at the time the Beis Hamikdash is not here like our days, I can understand the Nazis. Because the Kvod Hashem, the Shechina, is not here to protect us. We don't have a hole where to go talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and right away make a miracle. But at that time, the Beis Hamikdash was standing. How is it possible that all these horrendous things happened to the Bnei Yisrael in Yerushalayim while the Beis Hamikdash was standing? The Oyev Yisrael, the Abtirab, the Chusay Yagan Aleinu, explains what does it mean when the Yevanim were after the oil. The oil represents the Chochmah. Always the Chochmah going down. Basically, it's not only it represents the Chochmah, it is the Chochmah. Shemen is the midah of Chochmah on top. When sometimes we call it Shemen. Shemen ala roish yored al askan zekan aharon sheyored al pimidoisav. The Kohen Gadol is in the Chochmah. He's Kodesh. And the Kohen is Kodesh, in the Chesed. And he passes on, everything comes from the Chochmah. That Kedusha comes from there. And it trickles like the oil, trickles down. So they wanted to make a siman that Bnei Yisrael have to stop. Antiochus was a tremendous warrior. Tremendous. People were so scared of him. He took nation after nation. Rome, to win them, they were fighting for 32 years. They could not understand. When Rome won, they could not understand how they won. And Rome told them, we won because of the God of Israel and because of the Torah of Israel. And it's just for the narrative. Everything will become extremely clear as we're going to go along, because we need a lot of information that is not available just like this. We need to go see behind the scene. So they wanted to force, the Yevanim wanted to force the Chochmah onto the Bnei Israel. They were so strong. Like the Abtirov says, Arista was so brilliant. Like the Rambam testifies on him that he was very close to Nevuah. And he was able to make mathematically everything stands, and people were drawn to that source of Chochmah. And a lot of the Bnei Israel left the Torah to get close to that source of Chochmah. And that was the purpose. Through that, they wanted to change, the whole belief. And that's why they say that Al Keren Ashor, on the horn of the shore, they wanted Bnei Yisrael say that we have Chaz v'Shalom and never a chelek in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Midrash says, it says in the pasuk, I would like to show you because we're going to use it a few times. Shira. Second pasuk of the Torah. The whole world and its whole history is included in that pasuk. V'ha'aretz ha'isa soy, the Bnei Yisrael. Soyhu v'avoyhu v'choshech al penei sehaim. The Midrash says, Soyhu Galus Babel. Voihu, I'm not going to go explain the thing now because we want to keep focus and there's a lot of data today. But Voihu is Madai. Choshech is Yavan. Wow, you call him Choshech. Lehashkicha mitoira secha, right here. Where is it? Choshech, forgetting, what it means forgetting, it doesn't exist. You cannot forget something in this world. Everything is a wave of light. So everything is imprinted in the light. How can you forget? Because of the klipa of choshech that befall on someone. Choshech, you remember what we said last week in the parsha? Choshech equals chamoer, shor, kelev. The three klipos of Yishmael, Yishmael, Esau, Amalek. The Zohar always says, if you put these two together, you're not allowed to plow a field with a donkey and an ox together, because when you put them together, the world can be destroyed. Why? Zohar says if you put them together, there's a dog coming out. If you take these two letters, hey, sir, today I give you more than you're going to ask for. And all the middle letters, Mem, Vav, and Vav. How much equals? 46 plus 6, 52. Kelev. When you put these two together, you have a dog coming out. That's how Yishmael, when Esau got married to the daughter of Yishmael, he had Amalek. Anyway, so this is where they are. And Tehoim, says the Midrash, is the Rasha, Esau, why we call him Tehoim? Because he has no bottom. It's like a non-ending gulf. And once we're going to finish this, then it says, after that, then will come the light. But first, we have to go through Toihu, Vavoihu, Choshech, and now we arrive at the end of Tehoim. And soon, Bez Hashem, is going to be Yehi Oyer, Vayhi Oyer. So, interesting that they portray the Yevanim as Choshech, even though they had tremendous Chochmah, tremendous light and everything. People are drawn by science, by new things. Yes, science said there's no one thing that the Gdolim, that the Tanoim, the Amoraim, when Rabbi Gamliel, he was at the time of Bais Rishon, he said the distance between Earth and the moon is, I forgot what was the time he said, they were laughing, all the scientists, that he was wrong. Why? Because in 1986, there were these computers called in Germany. There were only 3 in Europe. To tell you how much they cost, it was 1989. I'm sorry. It was 1989 in Germany. They calculated the distance. I think it was with the light, and he was 1 second off. And he said it just like this in the Mishnah. About when we he came at 5 o'clock off the Beis Din. He says, "Now it's too late for the Edus HaChodesh, for testifying that it's the new Chodesh, that the new moon, because he passed the time." And they said he made a mistake. Fast forward 10 years, the nuclear computers came out, and it came out exactly like Rabban Gamliel. So who's laughing at who?
My rabbi.
And so forth. Chazonish, we don't even have to go that far. That drawn the whole brain had to make. Never seen a brain. He never went into medical school, and he told a patient to tell the surgeon how to make the surgery, and he will be fine. It's in Ichilov, it's still in portrait in Ichilov Hospital in Tel Aviv. Anyway, so we see that the Yevanim really, they have this midah of Choshech. Says the Yavetz. The Yavetz is the son of the Chacham Tzvi. Fire, the son was a fire, the father was a super fire. He started thinking, he says, how is it possible that already 20 minutes, that in a place like Spain, which had so many yeshivas, so many Bate Midrashim, so many Gdoilim, so many people learning Torah, has such a tragedy befall them, like the Gerush Sfarad. How is it possible? And he explained in his usual way. He is very sharp. He says at that time, people were learning Torah to sharpen their mind, and then they were going to learn secular studies to be successful. And those who were remaining learning Torah were not learning Torah for Torah. They were learning Torah to show, to pride themselves before others, how sharp their minds are, that they could even convince you that something that says Tami in the Torah is Tahir. There was no one to learn Torah. Everything became going after the self, personally self-gratifying and everything, and therefore they had Girush Sfarad. In sum, it's a few words in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Mishnah Aleph, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Yud Gimel, Udeishtamesh besaga chalaf. The one who uses the crowns passes, dies, finished, saris. Why? We want to remain this, we want to do that, but we would like to remain with the same condition as we are now. It's not possible, because what we have right now comes from the Keser, from the oil of the Keser. This is an oil, or everything else, like when the neshama comes down, it goes into an envelope, a body, and it doesn't shine. Because if we would know how much our neshama shines, we would never make a sin. So it had to be like this. But once the oil of the Keser comes down, nothing can engulf, nothing can contain it. It goes directly to the Bnei Yisrael. So when you're good, don't say now because I'm good and everything will remain the same way, because nothing will remain the same way. Bnei Yissaschar also brings down about the Gerush Sfarad. He talks about it. Tzvi Elimelech Medina of Zechus Yagan Aleinu says they used to make fun of the words of Torah, because now when the science and when the math came out and everything, they were making fun. And these people, their fate is the same fate as Korach, and you can't be next to them, and you can't say, Suruna me'ala hole areshayim ailu. You have to remove yourself from the dwellings of these people, because they're going to be swallowed. Gemara says in Soita, when the two brothers, I forgot the name, Hordus was the one fighting from the outside, Aristobulus was fighting from the inside. I don't think it's the opposite. I think it's correct. And yeah, because he became a king after that. So they could not. They sieged on Yerushalayim for I don't know how long. They tried to conquer it. They could not conquer it. Every day, the Anshe Yerushalayim, they used to send down a coffer full of silver and gold in return to have one sheep. They would send one sheep. And they would sacrifice it on the Mizbeach for the Tamid every day, for the Korban Tamid. One in the afternoon, in the morning, one in the afternoon. There was there at that time an older man that was a savant, also a savant in Greek Chachma. He told them, "You fools, as long as you send them a ship, you will never be able to conquer them. As long as they send the shech, the korban tamid, you'll never be able to conquer them. Put a pig inside." As soon as the pig arrived, they pulled out the string to the middle of the walls of Yerushalayim. He planted his claws in the walls cracked. Eretz Yisrael started shaking. 400 parsaos, mean from one side to the other, there was an earthquake. Hold it, what happened? What happened? At the end of the day, he didn't even come into Yerushalayim. It's only a pig. And from there, he became also to grow pigs in Eretz Yisrael. Zohar explained in Parshas Bereshis, the Ben Yisrael receives a neshama, tehoira, and he goes into a body. And this body creates an envelope where it's like choshech, like obscurity. So it obscures the light of the neshama to the point we can't see it. Until you elevate yourself, then you can see it. It's like someone in a valley, he wants to see the fireworks going on behind that mountain. No, he's got to climb the mountain. Then he's going to be able to have a great seat to be able to enjoy the fireworks. Otherwise, he cannot see nothing. So, but the Goyim, they have a neshama coming from the klipa. Which one? Chazir. And it comes from the side of Tumah. And therefore, they're not called Adam. They look like us, but they're not like us. They're a different breed of people. And since the ruach comes from the side of Tumah, they are called themselves. So the envelope also is Tameh. And therefore, when a guy dies, that this ruach of Tumah, the Chazir, came out, he has no Tumah. But a Jew, it's just the opposite. When he leaves, he is Taher, because the Neshama is inside. Once the Neshama goes, the Chitzonim come because they knew the Neshama was there and they want to attach the body. And therefore, this is where the Tumah comes from. So we see that the Chazir is playing a role here already in the games of the Yevanim. The Chazir, according to the Zohar, came from these three klippas. Where does it come from? It's not a new klippa. It comes from Chamor, Shor, Kelev. These three together, now when they're together, they give Chazir. If you take the word Chazir, equals 225. Equals 5 times Adam. How many sub elements, I would say, a person has? He has the nefesh, the ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chazir, this is his power. As much as we have 5, I want to call it souls to make it simple. soul into a soul, into a soul, into a soul. This is the neshama. When you're tzaddik, you get the chaya yechida. And the chazir is keneged all this. But chazir is also what the Yevanim tried to take away from the Bnei Israel, the milah. On this, they were, crazy. I could just make it here. No, it won't be right. So if I take this, and that's going to rejoin last week's shir. Who fought for the milah? Who exchanged the birth, for the milah? So Bnei Israel should be guarded during the Mitzrayim and not be defiled by this chet. Yosef and Dina. Chazir is the strength, Yosef and Dina. Now, why don't we take it, Chazir, in full, see where is his strength coming from? If we take Chazir, Ches, Zayin, Yud, Resh, okay? This equals to 1015. This week I cheated a little bit. Up, here's your 1015. The power of Chazir is even Yerushalayim. There was a faithful city turning into a harlot city. How? Ze chochma chitzonis. When they brought it even in Yerushalayim, the chochma of the chitzonim, the chochma of the Yevanim, this is what happened. And the words of the Zohar that they are tamei, take the word tamei, tamei plus do it, open it up, equals 1015. Exactly the words of the Zohar. The Chazir is bring a level of tumah, but the only thing we find out, it's tremendous. And how do we know that the Yevanim, okay, it's nice to say that, they brought a Chazir to the Beis HaMikdash. How do I know that the Yevanim were the Klippa of Chazir? Once you want to know the inside of them, you always multiply it by 13, because this is the magic number that has all the midas, like the Yud Gimel Michlin Derachamin, etc. Yavan. Yavan equal 66, okay? So 13 times 66 equals 658. Ze klipas Chazir. Yavan is the klipa of the Chazir. How do I know Chazir is a klipa? That's from the Megala Amukos. He says Chazir, we saw it 225, equals klipa. We close the circle. Here's our Yevanim, here's the klipa, here's the Tuma, and this is exactly the plant. Let's move on now. Now we understand the chet very crisply, what they have done at that time. Let's move on a little bit. The Mishnah says in Midas that after the five brothers, Yehud, it was Yonasan, Yochanan, Elazar, Shimon, Yehuda in the order. The five sons of Matasio and Gadol, when they went fighting, and finally this beast of Antiochus died like an animal, not even an animal. When he came, he got so angry on the first two wars that the Bnei Israel won, he brought 1 million strong army. 1 million. He hired from India with tigers, elephants that were trained for war, everything. Yehuda Gaza the Tzom. He says we have to fast. And daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and make tshuva. Towards the afternoon, they see a tremendous figure between sky and heaven, riding a horse of fire, holding as a spear a lightning, and a tremendous look. And he told them, Yehuda, look, HaKadosh Baruch Hu came down. It was Malach Michael. Malach Michael came down himself to fight the Tsar of the Yevanim, the bear. Interestingly, Russia is the bear now. So he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu came down to fight. Let's reinvigorate ourselves and be brave, and let's go fight them. Anyway, at that time, when he came in Antiochus, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him a sickness of boils, big boils from the toes to the head. He was in tremendous pain. When he was with his char, he passed by in front of an elephant and he started screaming. His horse jumped, so he fell off and he broke his body, falling off because he was very frail. He had leprosy. And then the char went flying and fell on who? On him. He was broken. So his servants started taking him on a shoulder. But he was stinking so much because his boils opened and everything. They dumped him and they left. At that point, he admitted, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are the great one. You are the tzaddik, I'm the Rasha. If you save me from this and you cure me, I will become Jewish. I will do a bris milah. I will publish your name all over the world, and I will get nations to follow you. And I will take all what I have in my coffers and bring it to Yerushalayim, and I'll beautify the Beis Hamikdash. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to hear from him. He died like a nevela that he was. So the Mishnah says in Midas, when the Hashmonaim came back from that war and they started purifying the Beis Hamikdash, part of what they've done is they dismounted the Mizbeach, because the Yevanim took a chazir, the chazir, and shechted it on the Mizbeach. So they had to do, it's very weird. The pshat of this Mishnah is very interesting. They were after the Torah, Shabbos, Milah, Chodesh, that's what the Gemara says. Why do they come? They shecht and they put an idol on the Mizbeach. What do they do there? We can answer this with the Gemara in Yuma. The Gemara in Yuma says there are 5 types of fire. Fire that is fire. The fire that, that you can never extinguish. It looks like a lion. The fire that looks like a dog. Rab Chanina Segana Kohanim testified that in Bayis Sheni, he saw the fire on the Mizbeach and it looked like a pack of bad dogs. We spoke about this already. I don't want to expand into this. When the fire used to come from the top, it was Malach Uriel that used in a second finish the Beis Hamikdash, clean up the water and everything, and no mess was left. Once, and this was for a tzaddik that was really b'choze b'tshuva, and this was a sign that his korban was accepted. The Zohar says that. But there was a hole next to the Mizbeach, and sometimes the fire used to come from that hole, and it looked like a dog. And that was the Lili. Remember her? The wife of the Satan, that was her. And at that point, the korban, that was a sign that it was not accepted and it was going to the other side. Now we're going to put the piece together that we just learned. The chet, they brought the Chochma Yevanis into Yerushalayim. The Karbonis were never accepted because Reb Chanina's Gana Kohanim said the fire looked like a dog. And we know from the Zohar that whenever the fire looks like a dog, means the korban went to the other side and not to the correct side. So automatically, it could not prevent, any bad event or enemy from coming onto. It could not save the Bnei Israel. Put it that way. Now, if we take, let me see, share screen. Again, we're going to take Yavan, just to try to validate what we just said. Yavan, if we take it like this, equals 66. But I'm going to tell you it's equal to 716. In Gematria, there's a rule. Simple letters, we know the Gematria. What's the biggest letter? Tough, 400. But then come the double letters and the Chaf, 500. And the Mem, 600. And the Nun, 700. 700 plus 16, 716. Equals Nachash. Nachash, the two Nechashim. Nachash Akadmoni, they brought with them, the Zohar say, they wanted to bring back the Dor HaMabul with them. All the Chatoim from the Dor HaMabul, they wanted to bring them. As much as I see the time and I want to rush because I am getting short in time here to get into what I want to get, but I'm going to take a shortcut. I'm not going to go back into the tefillah. I'm just going to show something that's going to close that little inyan here. And what did they decree? Any girl that's going to get married has to first be taken by the greater Greek that was there. I forgot who says that. It's not the Zohar. It's I think it's a Galia Raza, that when it came time for the daughter of Matasio Kohen Gadol to get married, he a Roman wanted to do that because he was the daughter of the Kohen Gadol. He took a Sefer Torah, tore it apart, put it on the floor, and says, "Run on it in front of everybody. I'm going to do it." And she was extremely beautiful, that in that time they had never seen such a beauty. So he grabbed her by the hair. Oh yeah, they were educated and they were civilized. No, they were beasts. And he wanted to throw her down on the Sefer Torah. Elazar saw that. He boiled from Kinas Hashem. Nekama. He took his sword, zoop his head off. And with this sword, because the other Romans, he had gladiators around him and everything, but he started killing right and left, nonstop. Then the brothers came and started killing them all. Show them, you want to touch the Kedusha of Am Yisrael, we'll die for the Kedusha of Am Yisrael. But you won't touch the Kedusha of Am Yisrael. Why do they want to do that? So Bnei Yisrael stop receiving the metame, the Galia Raza said also they gazed on Nida because they wanted the same way. They knew, they were tremendous chachamim. They knew when the tumor happens down here, says the husband won't be able to hold, they'll go with their wife Nida. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a miracle and created a mikveh in everybody's house. because you want us to do certain things, to a certain level. Yes, we're not good. But once you want to touch the Kedusha of Am Yisrael, we're going to show you what it means. We're going to give our lives. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu returns. Look at the miracles. Each one had a mikveh. How did this happen? It happened with the three first names of Ana Bechoyach. We do not understand this tefillah, how powerful it is. Ana Bechoyach Gedulas Yeminecha Tatir Tzerura. Aleph Beis Gimel Yud Taf Tzadik. One day I'll give a share on this to get you into these names. You will see the power. Second one, Kras Satan, which Moshe Rabbeinu used to split the ocean. And the third one, Nagad, Na Gibro Doishe Yechudecha Kevava Shamrem. These three names is Nokamta Es Nikmasa. These three names together equal 1622, exactly what we say in the Tefillah, Nokamta Es Nikmasa. And if you take, this is extremely important. If we're taking the three mention of vengeance that are mentioned in the Tefillah, I go very briefly on this. I just show them here. And I'll move on to the Oraganus. If you take those three, which is the main nace that happen, it's equal to 3,000. Okay, I'm going to write it for you. I know you people like it written down. 3,825, which is equal to, I want to write it that way this time, 13 times 295. You remember the vote of the Baal Shem? Retzei. Bnei Israel were in a tzara. The oil comes from Shamayim the right way. Because of our actions, the letters change. And instead of Retzei, it becomes tzara. Everyone that has a tzara should look during Shemona Esrei in the word Retzei and have in mind, stop a second. When he says Retzei, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all the tzaras I have, turn the letters from tzara to Retzei. What is Retzei? 295. Aleph, Hey, Yud. No. Sorry. Lamed, Yud. I'm really a bit rushing too much. Hey, Yud, Mem, Eloikim. All the dinim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned them back on the Yevanim, and we became, and all the tzaras turned out to be Retzei. This is the nace. That's why after, we finish the Retzei, which is going with Moedim, we say the Hoidah on this nace. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's very important, anyone that feels anything, that's the word from the Baal Shem. This is the Kavanah of Retzei. Retzei Hashem, you should want, but not Sarah. Change the letters, and B'ez Hashem will see miracles from this. Now that we understand the Chet, we understand the Klippa of Yavan, okay, and after what we've done, how do we emerge from this? We're in a deep hole. What do we do? How is it possible within an instant to re-emerge? Because we would like to be able to redo that even now. You know that the Oraganus, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created it, in Maaseh Bereshis, he only lit for 36 hours, Friday, Shabbos, and the night of Shabbos. 36 hours. We have 36 Neiros in the Menorah. Every Mefarish, even Al Pipshat, the Oira Ganus comes into the light of Chanukah. How do I bring it down? The Galia Raza screams at those people explaining the Nes of Chanukah as Pesume Nisa. He says they don't know how wrong they are, and because of that, he says, my blood is boiling and I'm going to reveal secrets. And he starts unloading on Chanukah to show that Pesume Nisa, that we found a pach, that we won the war. It's nothing. The matana that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us in Chanukah is way, way, way beyond just this one time, that you have a cutlery that it's a one-time use. It's further than that. First of all, Ner Chanukah equals 339. One more than the Sar of Esav and Yishmael. So we see that the Ner Chanukah has a purpose also during our Galus. It was not only for Galus Yavan, but it has also a purpose for our Galus. Not only this, if you take Ner Chanukah, we say 339 equals Hatzlacha, Ahava, Chemla, Kalkala. Is there anything in a person's life that's not included in these 4 words? I repeat. Hatzlacha, success. Ahava, love. Chemla, it comes from the word, it's not pity. It's not, it wouldn't be the right word. It's chen. It's having and kalkala is everything that includes parnasa and bigger. Everything is in here. On one hand, he saves us from the klippos that want to throw darkness. On the other hand, he provides us all the light for every need we have in our lives. And God knows that in the life of Jews, we need a lot more than just going. So in that case, why did we have to go through Yavan? Because obviously nothing happens without a purpose. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does everything, even though it's a punishment, but it was supposed to happen that way, so you learn something. What do we learn from going through Yavan, going into Galus Edom? Yaakov said to the Malach, we saw a little bit of this, but I'm going to go a bit deeper now. He wanted to leave. It was the morning. He told him, sorry, I don't have time for vowels. Ki im berachtani. We saw in the shir in Parshas Vayishlach that lo yashalechacha equals 390 like Shemen. We explained that Yaakov Avinu didn't want to win the war only. He wanted that it should be relatable to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Winning a war is great, but it's going to remain in history. Do we remember all the wars that all the great warriors won? We don't even care about them. But when it comes out and it teaches us a midah, it teaches us something, and a reward. This teaches us a lot. And that's how we explain. How do we know that? If you take, only if you bless me, what are you asking here? Only if you bless me, I'm going to let you go. This equals 753. You want to go. It's your time to say Shira. And if you don't say Shira, you'll never be able to say Shira again. Once you miss one day, a malach cannot say Shira again. I'm asking you something very hard. I want to light the Ner of Chanukah with the light of Hashem, and you cannot be mekatreg. When a Jew comes to light the Ner of Chanukah, step aside. Otherwise, I don't let you go. My schus is bigger than your schus. If I hold you down here, I can keep you down here forever. And I want that the light of every Jew should be not with the light that we kindle, be'or Hashem. We start seeing here that the Ner Chanukah is taking a different dimension, that Yaakov Avinu already wanted to assure that in the darkness, because inside the Choshech, we spoke about it already, inside the Choshech is a light. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want the Rishaim to use. He saw the generations after Adam HaRishon, Mabul, Haflaga, Enosh, and Sdoim will be Rishaim, and he didn't want them to use the Oyer and Soif. Therefore, he hid it. Where? Inside the Choshech. Is it possible that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the most pure, the purest light, will go behind Chamor, Shor, Kelev, Chazir? Yes, because this is the only Oyer. When it comes down, I told you the Oyer of the Keser does not get the physicality. It doesn't lose its light. The same way it comes from up there, the same way it appears here. So it cannot be touched. They're very far away. They run away. They're scared. They can't even approach it. But to us, they wall it up and they look like we have choshech, like our body to the neshama. Everything in Shamayim is in the shape of a body. Nothing else. So Malach Michael comes, help them beat the Yevanim, which were the klipa of Choshech, for us to know that I can prove you in the pasuk how Oyer comes from the word Choshech itself, but I guess it's gonna be for another time, because we're gonna have plenty of opportunities to talk about Choshech, and it's not only on it today. The Ner Chanukah removed that Choshech. So we said it's working even for our goals. But how did it work for Yavan? Because Ner Chanukah 339 equals HaChoshech, the darkness. The Yevanim, we saw they were Choshech. Ner Chanukah removed it. There was no more Choshech. Therefore, right away what happened? Rome came to fight Greece and took it over. And inherited what? Eretz Yisrael. Here we go. This is the critical time where we were passed from Galus Yavan into Galus Edom. But we can't be scared, because the Ner Chanukah beats those klippers. We say, I'm going to finish on this, but I would like to go a bit heavy on this. Did I write Lehadlik Ner Chanukah somewhere? Right here. If we take those words, Lehadlik Ner Chanukah, Nachal. The first letters make the word Nachal, which is a Shem Kadosh. It's a Shem of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's also the first letters of Noitzer Chesed Lo Alafim. Basically, when you light, Noitzer Chesed Lo Alafim is the upper muzzle of the Bnei Israel. Venake, this is the 8th. The 13th is the lower one. That's Mechaper. And Noitzer Chesed La'alafim is the well with all the bounties that sends down everything the Bnei Israel need. In Chanukah, we are connected to it. When we say Lehadlik Ner Chanukah in our mind, we want to bring down from Noitzer Chesed La'alafim. How do you know that I'm saying is true? Because always the numbers don't lie. Like Dari said, if you want to understand the real pshat of a word, go to the gematrias. 603 equals Bnei Yisrael. You can make this one up. You can make this one up. Automatically, the Ner Chanukah transposes us to a level that we have never been there, and we don't deserve to be there, but we connected. This is the Nach. You want more than this? You want to prove it a different way? I don't prove it. No, it's going to be too long, but I can prove it to you in a way that it's beyond and how far-fetched. You take Chanukah, it's Nachal +1. Just to show, with the Kedel, with the Aleph, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I could even show how the Nachal goes into Bnei Israel. How this comes down and go into the Bnei Israel, through the head, through the arms, through the back, through the front. How does it get here? How do I get it in? But let's say it's going to be for another time. I see the Mamish running short right now in time. We are, Chanukah, there's no mitzvah of eating, doing anything, only simcha and hoidah. Hoidah means praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because achila and shtiya, eating and drinking, is only when the Shechina goes up. Interestingly, in Chanukah, the Shechina stays down. You're going to tell me if it stays down, this is where all the mazikim are, and it's going to be on the duress and everything. No. Because usually the Shechina goes up to meet the light. This time the light comes down to meet the Shechina. All the mazikim in the world disappear. They go where? In the Tehoim. Tehoim, Asap. Yes, they go right there. And they hide. Why? Because for half an hour, the Or HaGanuz will light and will come, and at that point, nothing can stay. This is the only time that the Shechina will go down below 10 Tfachim and clean up the whole house. A person, by lighting with his mind, with his das, can become a different person. Now, if you put your Menorah between before I get there, I want to tell you something. So you can become a different person. Why? Because lehadlik ner Chanukah, which is equal to 518, equals to Oyer Chodosh. Oyer Chodosh atzion toyer. We asking for the last, for the Yehi Oyer Vayhi Oyer, the light of the Mashiach. Oyer Chodosh, but it's also to a person level, the person can have a salvation and be under a brand new light after Chanukah. He was one person before Chanukah. He's a different person after Chanukah. Or Chodesh. Now, if you take Lehadlik Ner Chanukah, which equals to Noitzeh Chesed La'alafim, you put them together, equal 1,121. Kriya Shema, unification of all the words. If you're thinking about the Nachal, if you're thinking to bring down the light from Noitzeh Chesed La'alafim into your Menorah, and from your Menorah inside you, the Ari HaKadosh says, when a person says properly, Kriya Shema Lamita, he kills 1,125 mazikim. And Kol Sheken, with the other three Kriya Shema of the day, that are much bigger than this. Kriya Shema 1,121, you count the letters, make it 1,125. I'm not going to play that game here. I just want to tell you that all of us suffer because of mazikim. Kriya Shema is the one that kills mazikim. It's like a sword, and you chop them right and left. We say 4 times, even if we take the number of 1,125, it's so times 4, it's 4,500 mazikim you kill every day by saying properly Kriya Shema. And if the number is much higher, because only 1,125 is for the night. But let's say even at this number, this is what we kill. And once you put the menorah on one side of the door, Ne Chanukah plus mezuzah, and you pass in between, equals 404. The 3 generals of all the mazikim, ketzef, af, chema, anger. Even if there was a reason on Rosh Hashanah that you deserve to have the anger and the rod to be punished, a person with the Ner Chanukah can free himself not by annulling the Gzar Din, by becoming someone else, and on that someone else there was no Gzar Din. Says the Zohar, the Satan goes and look for him in the whole world, comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says, I cannot find him. Did you kill him? No, I didn't kill him. He's still in the world. Goes out and finds him, says, it's your job. Get out of here. You know, it's not my job to tell you where the people are. Yehi Ratzain, that by lighting with the second night of Chanukah, so we have still a few nights to think about the Noitzeh Chesed La'alafim. You have to know it's a Be'er. Be'er is 203. Banei Chaye Mezoine, children Banim, Chayim, life, health. Mezoine Panasa equals 203. Noitzeh Chesed La'alafim, send this through the Ner of Chanukah. That's why it's very important during the first half hour to say Yoshev B'Seiser 7 times, first of all, because he kills the mazikim. You're using the Ner of the Menorah to kill the mazikim. And number 2, looking into the Menorah to bring the Or HaGanuz inside you, because the only time a person is sick, if it's one limb of the nefesh, of the soul, has lost its light. So we're going from the inside out. So therefore, the corresponding limb of the body gets sick. But once you bring the Or HaGanuz inside, it relit your whole, you the Ner, you become the Ner. You know what's a Ner? A Ner is 250. Yud Ke Vav Ke Kehye. Yud Ke Vav Ke Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. Yud Ke Vav Ke Eloikim equals 250. A Ner is the names, the Yichudim of the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Once a person takes this Or HaGanuz, takes this light from the Ner Chanukah, Yud Ke Vav Ke Kehye, Yud Ke Vav Ke Eloikim, Yud Ke Vav Ke Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, and gets it back inside, he is a Ner, he has nothing to worry. And Yehi Ratzon, we should see that Ner, the Ner of Mashiach lighting Bimhera B'Yameinu, Amen.